Randy. I'm so grateful to be here. Let's go ahead and jump in. First, let's make sure that you guys can actually see my screen. Um, let's see. This might
Yep,
not be
screen is
full.
showing. Yep, everybody's
Yep.
got it.
And is the slide shifting to the next slide?
No, you haven't shifted yet. You have to go to the next slide. If you put the cursor, nope, you close it out.
Got it. I'm going to try it one more time just to make sure that everything is situated, and then we'll get right back to it. One second, Charles. Sorry about that.
We'll give them 1 second to pull that up again, everybody. So bear with us
1 second, guys.
and make sure you go into full view so everybody can see the slides. And then if you put your cursor down in the lower left corner, you should be able to advance the slides without closing them out.
All right, let's see if this time it'll work for us. Try it one more time. I don't know why I'm having issues with it today. Well, we're just going to try it this way. I'm going to have to just go with another approach here, but we're going to make it work. All right. Let's try this. Okay, everybody can see
There we
this.
go.
All
So
right.
if there you go. Perfect.
Thank you. All right, guys, let's jump in. I'm going to go through this content pretty quickly. So if you want to take notes, take notes. But definitely pay close attention because I'm going to be breaking down some things that you're going to be able to apply immediately. So we've got 3 objectives today. First, we're going to learn about why we need to craft a compelling brand story. And I'm going to show you guys how to actually do that for your business so that you can set yourself apart in the marketplace. We're going to learn the 6-step brand process so that you guys can really figure out, like, how do I build a brand that attracts ideal clients and commands premium prices? That's super important, obviously, to grow your business. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to leverage your brand for maximum impact. So a lot of folks that I work with, what they really need right now is a relaunch. Right? They need to actually get in there, retool some things, and then launch again so that their customers can really see what they're actually up to and the value that they bring to the marketplace. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that and how to really activate your marketing across a number of channels so that you can reach your target market. Okay. So if you guys have been to any of my workshops in the past, you know this, right? There's some sobering statistics about running a small business. 86% of us make less than $100,000 per year. That's tough. And only 13% make more than $100,000 per year. And that's in revenue, not profit. And so what we're really trying to do is figure out, how do we break that 100K glass ceiling? How do we reach 7 figures? Like, what are the universal principles that top performing businesses are using to scale, right? A lot of us are solopreneurs. Some of us have small businesses with staffs, but ultimately, a lot of us are just trying to figure out how to survive in a shrinking economy and how to remain relevant. Okay. So let's ask ourselves a couple of questions, like, why do small businesses fail? Why do small businesses struggle? Why is it so difficult for so many small businesses to break that glass ceiling? Well, if you break it down into the 3 primary reasons that I've seen across hundreds of businesses that I've worked with, it comes down to this. The offer is broken, which then translates to the brand not resonating, which translates to the marketing not working. And it really is in this particular order. And so some of you might not know what I mean by offer. Some of you might have heard this kind of terminology before, but I'm going to break it down to you in a way that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So what we're going to start with is the power and learning about the power of a top 1% offer and how that combined with stellar branding can really transform your business. And so what do I mean by a top 1% offer? First of all, what is an offer, right? All of you guys have products or services, one or the other, right? Your product is a solution that people buy. It could be a physical product, it could be a digital product, but they're buying it because it's a solution that solves their problem. Or you provide services, whether that's to people, to other businesses and organizations, and you are addressing a critical concern within their lives or within their business that's going to help them achieve a particular outcome. But oftentimes, when we're talking about our products and we're talking about our services, we aren't packaging them in a way that differentiates us from the marketplace. We're not packaging them in a way that makes people actually want to buy what it is that we have to offer. Okay. So when we're talking about offers, we want to position ourselves to be in what we call the top 1%. And that means we're not the cheapest, right? Nor are we the offering that provides the most features. Okay, we're going to get into that. But really, what we're doing is we're making sure that we understand our market so deeply that we can offer them a solution that they literally can't resist. It's unbeatable, right? So, I'm going to teach you guys how to craft an offer that makes your competitors wonder how the hell they're doing that, that makes your customers wonder, dang, how can I get a hold of that? I want to have that. Okay. So, let's break down that top 1% offer formula. The first component of this is you want to identify your ideal client's biggest pain points. There's so many businesses that I talk to that don't really understand their customers. They're just kind of like shooting darts in the dark, right? Like they actually don't understand their customer. They actually haven't had enough conversations. They aren't keeping up with shifts in the marketplace, in their lives. They don't understand their psychology, right? And so what you guys need to do is actually go out there and do some customer research. Talk to 5 to 10 people in your market and ask them some questions to understand what keeps them up at night. What problem, if you can solve it, would make them feel like their dreams came true? And how can you start to articulate that you are the solution that can bring that transformation into their lives? Because ultimately, what separates an offer from a product or a service is that you're hyper focused on outcome and results, not features, outcomes and results. So, for instance, would you be interested if you're looking for a personal trainer? Would you be interested in somebody that's like, hey, I offer personal training services and we meet every single week and I help you with your training? Or I have a program that within 90 days is going to help you lose 20 pounds guaranteed. Which one is more competitive? The latter, for sure. Okay. That's the difference between an offer and a service. Okay. So let's talk about the second component of a top 1% offer. You want to create a solution that I call it unbeatable, meaning that this solution addresses the pain point better than your competitors, right? So oftentimes what we need to do as business owners is we need to get a little more creative. Like we actually need to think about how can I frame this solution in a way that's different than what other people are doing, right? And oftentimes that can come down to, again, how you frame your result, how you frame your guarantees, right? Like, how can you solve the problem faster or more efficiently or more effectively than your competitors? So, for instance, if your competition says they can get the solution in 90 days, you can get the solution in 60 days. But you got to make sure that you can actually deliver that solution and figure out how you can actually do that, right? Got to be up for the challenge. The next piece is you want to package that solution in a way that's easy to understand and implement, right? There's so many people that I talk to, so many business owners that have really amazing solutions, but they're too complicated. They're literally communicating that solution at like a PhD level. People don't have time for that, right? You want people to remember what it is that you offer. You want to make sure that it's clear and that it's not confusing, right? Like you actually want to frame what you do in such a simple way that a fifth grader could understand it, right? So even looking at this particular product here, like I know exactly what it is. I can kind of understand the framing, right? Like it's collagen that's like some kind of sea base collagen that's going to help my body, right? How can you make sure that people really understand what you do in the simplest way possible? And then here's where you can kind of add a little spice to what it is that you have to offer by adding some unique elements to your offer that your competitors can't easily replicate, right? So what this is where you might talk about your proprietary 4-step process or 5-step process, right? This is where you might talk about some ingredient within your product that's a little bit different from your competitors and how it makes your solution so much better and so much more viable to produce the result that it is that you're promising your target market. Okay. So make it difficult for others to copy you. Because here's one thing that I always tell folks: no one can do you better than you, but you better work on what it is that you offer and what it is that you're able to do so that you can confidently walk in that differentiation. And then you want to offer a bold guarantee, a super bold guarantee that removes all the risk from your client, right? Because there's so many businesses that are afraid of making a promise, of saying, hey, we're going to get you this result, and if we don't get this result, your money back, right? We'll pay you if we don't get you this result, right? Like, a strong guarantee shows your customer that you're confident, and it reduces friction in the buying process. But again, you've got to make sure that you can deliver on that guarantee, okay? And so here's some examples of offers that are a little bit differentiated, right? And just, this is a super simple example, right? So instead of offering social media management, I see so many people doing that, like, oh, I'm an SMMA, I'll manage your social media and post for you. What about a 30-day Instagram accelerator package that guarantees to triple your clients' followers and engagement in a month, or they pay nothing? I mean, how effective is that, right? Like, if I was looking for someone to help me scale my Instagram and I saw that they were able to get that result in 30 days to triple my followers, whew, I'm willing to have that conversation and see, is this somebody that I want to work with? Far more so than the commodity of social media management, right? And a commodity is just something that is just like everything else in the marketplace. Again, here's another example for personal training, right? Like, instead of offering that, offer 90-day weight loss program that guarantees to reduce a client's weight by 10 to 20 pounds in a month, or they either get some training for free or they pay nothing, right? Again, another powerful guarantee, powerful framing that would 100% encourage your target customers to have a conversation with you and be ready to give you their cash. Okay. So I want you to remember a couple of things, right? And it's this: don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to do something different in the marketplace. Don't be afraid to double down on what it is that you're great at and focus on that. You don't have to do everything. Okay. And lastly, what I want you guys to do is really focus on being confident in what you're able to provide to the marketplace. Like, you have to believe in your product. If you don't believe in your product or your service, if you don't believe in your offer, your customers aren't going to believe in it. Okay. So let's talk about how, when we have that offer, that top 1% offer that speaks to our customers' pain points, because we've actually had some conversations with them and we've distilled that into a customer avatar. So we know exactly what they're thinking about, where they are, how they're feeling, what solution they're looking for, what's keeping them up at night, right? We've figured out what our compelling thesis of transformation is, and we've communicated that in a results driven, quantifiable way, right? And we have those strong, compelling guarantees that we're promising to our marketplace. Now's the time to create a story around that. That's what a brand is. Okay. A brand is a story that you are inviting your customers into with you as their guide. Okay. If you guys have ever read Marketing Made Simple, that's where that comes from, but that is the truth. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we actually create a brand story that's really compelling? Well, the first thing is you got to know your why, right? Like, what drives you beyond profit? Like Simon Sinek said it best: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? That is the emotional charge, the electricity that actually attracts people to what it is that you do. That's where that magnetism comes from and makes you human. Okay. Because here's the thing: people don't really care about you. They don't really care about what you do. They care about, like, what you can do for them and why you're doing it in the first place. If you can answer those two questions, you're already on the path to having a really high performing brand. The next piece to a compelling brand story is you got to understand your customer journey, right? You got to understand where your customers are right now, right? Point A, and where they want to be, not point B or C, but point Z. Like, where do they actually want to go? What kind of journey are they expecting to have that they're dreaming of? What's that other side of the fence that you're going to show them and bring them to? What's the promised land, right? And your brand story should position you as the bridge between where they are and that promised land. And you should be able to tell stories about how you've helped people to do that. You've helped become a medium that takes people from point A to point Z so that people know that you understand their struggles, you understand their aspirations, you understand their fears, and you're the one that can help them overcome those things. And then you want to position yourself as the guide, right? This is actually how you take yourself out of this like position of being the hero, of being the main character. I think there's so many entrepreneurs that have main character syndrome and they think that people again care about them. But here's the secret. You're not the hero of the story. Your customer is the hero of the story, the heroine of the story. You're Master Yoda, right? You're not Luke Skywalker. And so you want to position yourself as the person that can hold their hand and take them where they need to be. You've been there before, right? You can speak on those challenges. You can speak to all the people that you've helped, and you're somebody that they can trust. Okay. And then you want to showcase your unique approach, right? Like what makes you different? Again, don't come out into the marketplace as a consultant or a coach or a service-based business who's literally just doing what everybody else is doing, right? You're copying what other people are doing in the marketplace. You're trying to sound like your competitors. What makes you unique? What makes you different, right? This could be your background. This is where you want to integrate some of those personal things. This could be your philosophy. This could be your proprietary process, right? But these things should reinforce the centering of your customer in that narrative. Okay. So that again, they can see that you're the one that can help them get from point A to point Z. Okay. Make it clear why your way is the best way. And here's another really important piece, right? Like super, super important. And I think this might actually be 80% of why a lot of folks don't succeed. They don't have any reviews, they don't have any testimonials, they don't have any case studies. Okay. You haven't proven your worth to the marketplace. So nobody really trusts you. Right. You've got to actually build relationships with your market. Right. They've got to know you, right? Know you exist. They got to like you and then they got to trust you, right? You've actually got to create that pathway for them. So, how do you do that? You do that with case studies, you do that with testimonials to build credibility. You let your customers speak to the transformation that you were able to create in their lives, and you let those reviews do the work themselves. You don't need to get out there and like toot your own horn or anything like that. You let other people do that. Okay. Nothing builds trust faster than social proof. So if you don't already have reviews, whether that's Google My Business, whether that's reviews on your website, go find 5 customers that you've worked with and you've gotten some really good results for and ask them to make a video testimonial. Ask them to send you a written testimonial. Do it today, right? And if you have reviews, go get some more. I would say that if anything you take away from this workshop, even though we're talking about branding, go do that because it's going to help take your brand to the next level. Okay. So here's some tips. Okay. Um, consistency. Consistency is super, super key, right? With all these things. So if you're promising something to the marketplace, you better be able to consistently create that outcome for your customers, right? If you've positioned yourself as a particular type of brand with a particular type of philosophy, you want to make sure that there's consistency in the way that you're communicating, right? People connect with stories. So learn how to tell stories. Great stories take people through that hero's journey, right? That initiating event that leads to some kind of challenge and obstacle that leads them to a climax, right? And then some kind of falling action after they've overcome that challenge, right? Like tell stories across that arc. Tell stories of how you've worked with your customers. Tell stories of things that you've literally done in the field. People connect with that more than anything. And then don't forget that human beings are emotional. Like they feel. what you're saying. They feel what you're putting out into the universe, right? So make sure that you are focused on truly connecting with people and building relationships with them, because human beings are emotional. Okay, they're not just buying things through some like hyper logical lens. They're buying things as a result of their emotion and their logical thinking. Okay. And then another tip is like engagement and interaction matters, right? Like if your social media is dead, if you're not actually talking to people consistently, then again, people aren't going to believe that you exist. They're not going to believe that you're able to get results. They're not going to trust you. So start having conversations with people, whether that's online or in person, right? A great way to really start building some momentum is doing some things in person and then translating that to the online world, because it can be a little challenging to figure out how to navigate online, right? And so let's go into this like 6 step brand process. Like, how do we really execute this? How do we bring it all together? Okay. So the first thing you got to do is you got to clarify. You got to really get clear on your brand's core message and values. What do you stand for? What's your mission? Right? Like, who are you in the marketplace? And how can you connect with people in a way that's going to resonate with those particular clients? You cannot be all things to all people, right? I often use this example. If I go to New York and I see my best friend in the crowd, right? Or even somebody who barely knows me, but like they might recognize my voice. If I'm just like, hey, 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 are they going to turn around? Or are they just going to be like, there's some crazy person yelling behind me, I'm going to keep walking. But if I call their name out, right? And I'm like, hey, friend name, they're more likely to turn around. So make sure that you're connecting specifically with your target market. Okay. And you want to be bold about that. You want to be niche about that. You want to be specific about that. That's going to help you be authentic and make sure that you're not coming across as like another AI brand, right? Because there's a lot of that today. Cookie cutter brands that are overly driven by AI and they just sound like everybody else, right? There's nothing wrong with AI, but you got to know how to use it the right way. Differentiate. Okay. Again, how are you going to set yourself apart from people? This is not about like being the oddball. Okay. It's about highlighting your superpowers. What are your unique strengths? What can you do that nobody else can do better than you? Like, what's innovative about your expertise? What's innovative about your product or your solution? Right? What's innovative about how you work with your customers and treat them? Whatever it is that you choose, like what I want you guys to do, I want you to own it. I want you to own it and scale that, amplify that, right? That's what's going to set you apart in the marketplace and help you stand out from your competitors so you can stop being a commodity. And then you want to visualize that, right? There are a lot of people who they've got a website, but the website's not good, right? They've got something great going on behind something that doesn't reflect who they are. It has no personality. There are folks that don't even have a website or a social media presence, and they're wondering why they're not able to get leads. They're wondering why they're not able to make sales or book calls. It's because people need something visual to actually connect with, right? Like we need to understand who somebody is, and the first way we do that is by looking at who they are, right? We make those snap judgments based on what we see. So you want to connect your brand colors, your logo, your messaging, all these things, right, into something that we might call a brand essence that you can communicate effectively to your target market. So whenever they see your stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, that's Growth Loop. Oh, yeah, that's Alignable. Oh, yeah, that's X, Y, and Z, right? These things should reinforce your narrative. And then you want a consistent brand voice, right? You want to amplify that voice across platforms. But again, you've got to have consistency. Like, how do you speak? Are you like no holds barred? Are you like unhinged? Are you like really calm? Right? Are you a meditation expert that like brings people into a state of calm? You know, are you like really grandiose in the way that you speak in terms of motivating and inspiring people, right? Are you casual and friendly? Like, think about who you are. What's your tone? And all those things should match what it is that you've already created so that you can, again, authentically resonate with your target market. Because without authenticity, you're cooked. Like it's so hard to be successful if you're not authentic, right? And this should resonate across all your content and everything that you're doing. And then you want to amplify this, right? Like you've got to understand, you've got to learn marketing, and I'm going to teach you guys a couple of things about marketing that you can do. But you really want to make sure that you're creating content, you're doing workshops, you're engaging with your market, your target market, you're doing something every single week, every single day. You're relentless in communicating with your people, right? So that they understand your brand message and they inculcate it, right? They start to believe in your philosophy and believe in the way that you approach things, which is going to make them more likely to want to engage with you as a customer. Okay. And then you want to start quantifying things. Again, people are constantly measuring you against the competition, right? And so what you want to do is make sure that your brand is performing at a high level, right? That you're getting results and you're quantifying those things, that you're tracking the types of people that you want to have conversations with, and you're attracting the right clients, that you are commanding the right prices, right? Like you want to be taking a look at all the data within your business, from how well you're providing your service and the delivery and the results, all the way to the types of people that are coming in, so that you can feed that data back into your entire ecosystem and refine and evolve your brand over time. This is a long game, not a short game. Okay. But you want to start off on the right foot. So I want you to remember this: building a powerful brand is a journey. It's not a destination. Like you don't just get there and then it's over. Like it's a never ending process of improvement and going to the next level. Okay. So, how do you leverage your brand for maximum impact? How do we do that? Well, I'm going to talk to you guys about some ways that you can market. Okay. And like this is it, right? This is it. There are really only three ways to do marketing. Okay. You're either going to run ads, which is expensive. You're going to create content, which takes time, but it's typically free unless you're paying somebody to make the content, or you're doing cold outreach. And then there's networking. Okay. Like we can add that one as like another one, right? But that's it. That's all there is. Okay. So you've got content marketing, where you're going to showcase your expertise. You can create blog posts, videos, podcasts, pick something, right? Don't pick everything. Pick something and start there. I recommend blogs and videos, right? You can take the blogs and turn those into videos, right? Be consistent, post on a regular basis. Social proof. Again, after this, go get 5 testimonials and then post them. Like that's amazing content. Case studies are always going to do really great work in your business. Partnerships. There are tons of other brands out there, folks that are on this workshop call, folks that are in your network that can connect you with other people. I get a lot of customers through referrals, a lot of work through partnerships. It's a huge component of my business. And I really recommend that you guys start thinking about who's 1 or 2 people that I can just have a conversation with and see if there's opportunities to work together. And then thought leadership, right? Like workshops are a great way to do that. Doing webinars, creating content, being on guest posts, being on another person's podcast, right? Like write a book, figure out ways to establish yourself as an expert so that people are going to start to seek you out. And of course, there's paid advertising, which I think if you're not at a point where you're making around 50 to $60,000 a month at a minimum, it doesn't make any sense to be running a bunch of ads, to be honest. But you got to do what you got to do. But ads can be incredibly effective when you have something to scale, right? And you understand your platforms and you're ready to start putting some money into that. And then there's email marketing, right? Send emails to your customers once a week. Like talk to them about what it is that you're up to. Bring them some new information and some guidance for free, right? Make sure that you're top of mind with insights and tips and occasional promotions so that people, again, can trust you. Referrals, right? They're customers that you've worked with who can be ambassadors, who can connect you with other people. Okay. And there's PR and media outreach, right? Like one of my clients has made a ton of money, a killing just by being on TV. Literally millions of people watching her and then reaching out. So think about ways that you can connect to media outlets or write something for a publication, right? Like there are plenty of ways to think this through, but that might be an opportunity for you. Okay. So remember, the key to leveraging your offer and your brand is consistency. You got to be consistent. So I'm going to run through this real quick because we don't have much time, but this is a little bonus. And I want to talk to you guys about what it means to create a real funnel, a funnel that actually generates leads, a funnel that actually connects with your customers and converts traffic into leads and leads into paying clients, right? You want to be relevant, right? You want a funnel that's speaking directly to your ideal client's needs and desires. Again, you understand them. Every step of that customer journey in your funnel is all about addressing their concerns and providing them with insights on that solution. So from the first time they see you, whether that's on social media or a website or a webinar or a podcast or your website, they understand what it is that you can offer to them and that it's relevant to them, right? Evidence-based, right? Again, testimonials, 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 right? And make sure that you're looking at your data to make sure that all your call to actions, right? Everything that you've put together actually is based on what gets people to take the next step. Remember, all this stuff is constantly evolving, so you've got to be paying attention to stuff. You've got to be testing stuff and make sure that you're really locked in. You got to be authoritative, right? Again, you want to make sure that you're positioning your brand story, your thought leadership in a way that's ultimately going to position you as the authority in the space, right? Case studies, testimonials are going to help with that. Providing content and talking about results are all ways to make sure that you're authoritative. And then lastly, lead generating, right? If you're not generating any leads, if you got a website or you've got social media and you're not having conversations with new people on a weekly basis, you have a problem, right? You can have a website that looks amazing, but again, if nobody's reaching out to you, it means that it's not working. It means that something is off, right? So you want to think about what are ways that I can offer more value, whether that's lead magnet, whether you improve your call to actions, right? Whether you have like really sort of worked on what that first step is for your customers to take, but you want to start thinking about how can I really generate leads versus just tell people about what I do, okay? So again, implementing this thing means you're mapping out your customer journey and tailoring the funnel to each stage. You're creating valuable content that addresses your ideal client's pain points and desires. You're using social proof and authority builders throughout the funnel, and you're implementing strong CTAs that guide leads to the next step, okay? While continuously testing and refining based on data and feedback. So remember, a real funnel isn't static, it's ever evolving, okay? And then let's just bring all this together, right? Just bring it all together. And it's this way, right? Your top 1% offer should solve a burning problem better than anyone else in your market, and it should be packaged in a way that's unbeatable or irresistible. Your brand isn't just about logos and colors, it's the story you tell and the feelings you evoke. The 6-step brand process that we talked about will give you a roadmap to create a brand that stands out and commands premium prices. And then you want to leverage that offer and brand, right, by being consistent in your marketing efforts. And then lastly, with a real funnel, that's how you bring everything together by being relevant, evidence-based, authoritative, and lead generating, right? Where you can create a system that's attracting, nurturing, and converting leads on autopilot. Okay. Okay, well, it's time to take action, guys. Like, again, everything that I teach in these workshops is meant for you to go start doing some stuff. So, again, first thing I want you guys to do, go get some testimonials. Start having some conversations with some previous customers. Start asking them some questions. Start thinking about and asking yourself and your target market if you're positioned the right way, and if your offer is framed in a way that's actually compelling and unbeatable and interesting enough for somebody who doesn't even know who you are to take action and engage with you. All these things are going to feed into your brand. They're going to help you build your authority and ultimately take your business to that next level. Okay. So, question is, you ready to step up? Time's now. Make it happen.